Hello, hello.
I'm gonna go tape it.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the very first Humphrey Bogart Film Festival. Thank you all for coming to the very first Bogart Ball, also. And it's my great pleasure to welcome the three gentlemen standing here next to me, Mr. Stephen Bogart, Mr. Jack Huston, and Mr. Leonard Maltin. I'll be very brief here because I know that these guys are going to speak and they'll be far more eloquent than I will. But I just wanted to thank some of our sponsors tonight, people who really made it happen. And one of those sponsors is DuPont, and the gentleman who is with DuPont is here, Eric. We also had the team from ProTech, our technicians, and Bacardi sponsor us. More importantly, and maybe just to me, but there was two men that I worked with, and they were very hardworking, critical to making it happen, and these were the two co-founders of the film festival, and that's Mr. Robert de Klerk. And Mr. Russ Yeagle. I clocked up a lot of hours at the lawyer office, for sure. So now it's my pleasure to hand you over to Stephen, who's the chairman of the festival.
Thank you so much. I have about an hour here, but I'll cut it down. Thank you, Jody. Yeah, there are a lot of people that I have to mention, that I want to mention. First of all, the TDC Tourism Board and the City Council, headed by Sylvia Murphy, if she's here, and the Key Largo Chamber of Commerce, all of who are so on board with this thing, and really made it possible from their end. Without their support, it couldn't have been done. Also, obviously, the people of Key Largo and the people who've come here from 36 states and 9 countries, including actually 10 now that Jack's here, including the farthest from Australia. I don't know if the girls are here. Where are they? There they are. Australia. Okay. That's great. And there are a couple of other people I have to thank. First of all, Billy Corbin. I don't know if any of you guys from South Florida have heard of Billy. He was fantastic today, and I went to his talk, and he's such an interesting guy. Thank you so much for coming down, Billy. Steve Anderson, who produced and directed The Last Lonely Place, which will come out next year, and which we will be showing next year, hopefully as part of our new production company, Santana Productions, which brings back my father's production company. Once again to SD DuPont, Eric, for our collaboration and continued collaboration with them. They're a wonderful company and they do great things for my father, and also for Audrey Hepburn and a lot of people. One of the top companies in France. Yes. I want to thank Michael Crane and Alex and Cash. You guys are great, and they work with us. They have their own company, and they're our lawyers, and that's okay. There are a lot of lawyers, but some lawyers are better than others, and those are good guys. I want to thank personally Robert de Klerk again, for all that he's done for me and for my family and for the film festival. and will continue to do, because we're not going to let him sleep ever. Russ and Kelly, Russ Yeagle and Kelly Yeagle as well. Thank you so much for everything you guys have done. Jody Reminick and Andy Newman, all the press and all the PR and all that sort of stuff. Thank you. Mindy Mordecai is here. She started the Esophageal Cancer Action Network, and I am proud to be a part of that. If you saw any of the films, there's our PSA right at the beginning of them. My father died from esophageal cancer. Her husband died from esophageal cancer, and I know I've spoken to a number of other people right over there who have also had those issues in their family. And I talked to a woman who's going back to Minnesota, and she's going to get checked because she has those symptoms of GERD. So that's fantastic. She doesn't have cancer, I'm not saying that, but she got the symptoms, so you get checked. It's before it happens anyway. That's the time to do it. A big round of applause for someone named Suzanne Holmquist, who has not slept. This woman has not slept to put this festival together, and I thank her so much. And I'm sure her husband, Lance, who has the greatest job in the world, by the way. I don't know, any of you who've ridden on the African Queen or know Lance, we all want to be Lance. So thank you so much. Just two more things. One, happy anniversary to my friend and partner on my show at WXCL. See how I threw that in there, Bill? Bill Scott and Meredith. It's their anniversary. And one more mention, and these people don't know I'm going to say this. Reed Nichols and Dana Karen. Now I understand that they eloped today, and here they are at their wedding reception. Stand up. Stand up. Come on. Congratulations. I don't know who they eloped from, or where they eloped to, or whatever, but they eloped and they're now married, and here we go. Now let me move on to something very important. I wrote this stuff out. I'm just going to read it because it's all right. Carla says it's good. You know, and I got to thank Carla. Without Carla, I couldn't have done this. Thank you so much. And I'd also so proud to have my daughter Brooke here and her boyfriend Mike. Mike is good, Brooke, but having her here is absolutely fantastic. So both you guys, without either of you, what would I be? But Carla, thank you, and Brooke, thank you so much for being here. Now let me talk a little bit about John Huston. What can you say about John Huston? He is, quite simply in my mind, the greatest movie director in film history. He's also an actor, a writer, an artist, a boxer, and he even rode with the Mexican cavalry, from what I understand. He started out with Warner Brothers as a writer. He wrote the scripts for Sergeant York and for Jezebel, but he wanted to direct. And Jack Warner allowed him to pick the book he wanted to make into a movie, so of course Huston picked one that had already failed at the box office a couple of years ago, and that was The Maltese Falcon. And here is where he began his career. His career-long preparation of sketching out. And Leonard, and I didn't mention Leonard because I'm going to introduce him earlier, but later on, but how great is Leonard Maltin? I mean, seriously. Seriously. Leonard and Alice, if you find not only a more knowledgeable guy, but a nicer man, I don't think so. Unless it's me. And he, Yeah, that's right. That's what Marge Simpson said, the best-looking critic that we had. I don't know how many years ago that was, but it was a while ago. It was here that Huston began his career-long preparation of sketching out. Remember, he was an artist each scene before he shot it. The first movie was hailed as a classic, and Huston's career took off. Over the next 46 years, he would end up directing 37 films. And get this, each of the movies I'm about to mention, he directed and wrote the screenplays for. Maltese Falcon, Key Largo, Treasure, Asphalt Jungle, Moulin Rouge, African Queen, Red Badge of Courage, Moby Dick, The Misfits, Night of the Iguana, The Man Who Would Be King, The Bible, of course he was the voice of God, and many more. His movies received a total of, and I counted them up, and I hope I'm right, Leonard, 55 Oscar nominations. He himself got 15, 10 for directing, and won twice. He also directed 13 other actors to Academy Awards, including his dad and his daughter Angelica. And he's the oldest ever to be nominated for an Oscar for Prizzi's Honor. Here we go.
Awesome.
I'm almost done with this. Jack is like tired here. My father would be proud to say Huston was his best friend. They made 6 movies he directed together, and those movies got 12 Oscar nominations. There's one little story I want to tell about how close my father was to John Huston. My father was not going to do Treasure of the Sierra Madre. And he went to Sam Jaffe, who was his manager at the time, as Leonard would say, not the actor, but the manager. And he went to Sam and he said, Sam, I don't really, I die at the end. I'm just, you know, I'm getting better. I'm getting better parts, and I really don't want to do this. And Sam said, look, John is your best friend. He really wants to do this with Walter, but he will not do it without you. You'll really upset him, and it may hurt your friendship if you don't do it. Well, my father said, all right, Sam, I'll do it. Ended up being my favorite movie. It ended up winning John Huston Director and Screenplay Awards, as well as Walter, his father. And I know you've all seen Treasure at one point. What a fantastic performance by Walter Huston. Just a great actor. And he won as well, and well should have. So when John gave the eulogy to my father, after my father's death in '57, he said there'll never be another like him. He could have said that about himself. Now, I want to say a little bit about the man who I'm so honored to have here to accept the award for the first annual Humphrey Bogart Film Festival Award, Jack Huston. And Jack is, let me just tell you a little bit. First of all, congratulations to Jack and Shannon and his wife Shannon for their first child, which was born about a month ago. She couldn't make it. Her name is Sage, and you know, he's young and I'm good looking, and he's good looking and I'm destined. He's young and good looking and I'm old and not. Jack is John's grandson, and he's the son of Tony Huston and Lager, and you know, I can't pronounce this. Lady
Margot Chumley.
Margot Chumley, okay. He was, well, it's spelled weird. Chomungly, yeah. He was born in London, and as I'm sure you all know, he's an actor and a very good one. You've seen him on Boardwalk Empire as Richard Harrow. He's been a working actor mostly in film since 2004, and just to be a working actor, to just get jobs, takes a lot of talent, and Jack has that in spades. He's also been cast in Silver Linings Playbook, director David O. Russell's new film, American Hustle, which began shooting, when?
We're in the middle of it.
We're in the middle of it right now, so he took time off and he came here. Jack and I do have 2 things in common. One is he decided, I understand, to become an actor after he was Peter Pan in school. I decided not to become an actor when I was Bianca in school, and he came into this room because I can't act. Jack obviously got the talent. I really didn't. It didn't come down to me, but it certainly came down to him. We have something else in common. You know, well, it's the next page. But I'm almost done with this. I know this is... Oh, where is the next page? Anyway, I know what we also have. We have the same name, and we have the last names that we have to live up to. and that's difficult. But Jack has shown a lot more guts than I to get into the business and to be as talented as he is. And I know that he's grateful for his lineage, and I'm grateful to have him here. And when I met Angelica for the first time, she came into my mom's apartment in Dakota, and she said, "It's about time." So Jack, it's about time, and thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Well, first off, thank you to Stephen. Meeting Stephen, many of the Bogarts, is an incredible honor for me, just being here alone. So with all of this is overwhelming. This festival is so important because more than anything, it brings light to these incredible movies that were made years ago, and they need like a resurgence of people to come see them. They need people to talk about them again, because films like this aren't really being made anymore. And like Stephen was just saying, living up to a name like that, like Huston, Bogart, it's such an honor, and it means so much to me, especially to be able to be here with all of you and accept this award, honoring the partnership that my grandfather and Stephen's father had together. And it wasn't just a working relationship, it was a friendship. Maybe even more so a friendship than a working relationship. And maybe that's why their working relationship was so good. They loved each other, they trusted each other, they had a rapport, they were a couple of guys who enjoyed a good drink and a good chat. And, you know, that's sort of, it's old Hollywood, and it's a part of Hollywood that's sort of gone now. And I'm the more sadder for it. But this is such a great festival, and obviously I want to thank everyone for putting this together, because it's beautiful and it really touches my heart so deeply. And I was 5 years old when my grandfather died, so I never really got to know him, sadly. So the way I did get to know him was through his movies. And I remember, I must have been, well, the first movie I remember was Annie, which was a different movie completely. The first real movie I remember of my grandfather's was Treasure of Sarah Marjorie. And I got introduced not only to my grandfather's work, but my great-grandfather and to Humphrey Bogart. And they say Peter Pan was what made me want to be an actor, but it wasn't. It was actually watching these movies as a child, which my grandfather directed and Humphrey Bogart starred in, and I saw what could be accomplished and the feelings one gets from watching great cinema and great performances. And yeah, that's what made me want to do this. And I've never looked back, and I want to do it for the rest of my life. And this is so special being here with all of you tonight, and thank you so much.
Soon this is going to be an Oscar. I just managed to talk, very happy about that. And now I want to introduce, I had a whole lot of stuff written down about Leonard, but I think all of you have met him, and you know how brilliant it is when it comes to film. He is one of our premier film historians. And I wanted to say something also about a friend of Leonard's who just passed, and I want to give some real props to Roger Ebert, too, because he was a courageous, wonderful man, and he loved film as well. Leonard loves film. Leonard loves Alice. And I'm so honored to have him here. As I said, I had a whole lot of stuff written, but we know how wonderful Leonard, we knew before he came how much he is respected and loved in the film industry, but now we find out what a wonderful man he is, and just thank you so much, and I'm so happy to have a new friend. Thank you so much.
What a lovely thing to say, Stephen. What a lovely thing. Thank you.
A couple of classy guys, right? Well, I didn't have a name to live up to. I discovered movies. My parents were always asked, "Oh, did you lead Leonard into this love of films?" No, I kind of discovered it on my own. But they did take me to a very important double feature when I was in my teens, which I mentioned at one of the screenings earlier, which was to see during the late '60s Bogart revival, High Sierra and Casablanca. So to see that film for the first time in a theater with an audience, in the dark, larger than life, was truly a life-changing experience for me. And it became my all-time favorite movie. It remains my all-time favorite movie, and Humphrey Bogart remains my favorite actor. And that doesn't mean I don't love a lot of other films and a lot of other actors, but Casablanca has a special place in my heart. So when I was invited to this festival, it didn't take much to say yes. I think Humphrey Bogart, in fact, Jack and I over dinner were just talking about this, that there are a lot of other wonderful actors of Bogart's generation. We all know and we all like and enjoy watching their films. But somehow their names don't resonate quite the same way because they didn't make the kind of films that have held up so many films. Not just one, not just two, not just a half dozen. Think how many Bogart films are considered classics, bona fide classics. Think how many Bogart films are on the list of the best movies of all time. It's a really amazing track record. And in so many of those films, he played anti-hero types that have weathered the years very well. I teach a class at USC in Los Angeles, University of Southern California, and I sometimes try out some films on my students. And to sell them old Hollywood happiness and glamour and that kind of sunny, happy ever after ending, that's tough. They find that a tough sell. To sell them cynicism, no problem at all. They get that. They get that. And that's why film noir is so potent and popular today in the 21st century. These are the times in which we live. We don't live in an innocent time. We don't live in a time when a generation has been brought up on that kind of Hollywood storybook fable of movie making. But Bogart's films stand tall. Not just Casablanca, the Maltese Falcon, The Treasure of the Sierra Madre, The African Queen, Key Largo, To Have and Have Not, and go on and on and on. Even one that we haven't mentioned, Beat the Devil, which doesn't get the attention it deserves, I think, which is a delicious little satire and kind of a one giant in-joke between your father and your grandfather. So we're very it's fortunate for the memory, the living memory of Humphrey Bogart, that he's still present in our lives so much. And it's how lucky for us that we have so many films of his to enjoy. And so I think this festival is great. I wish it a long, long life. And Stephen, thank you for carrying the torch.
Thank you all. I guess that's back to food and drink and all that sort of stuff. Thank you so much. Thank you.